I
Any
have a
homework question?
question.
Yes.
For section 1.2, where it
Oh,
says which of the functions shown is increasing, how come the radical function is not increasing?
very good question. So I'm going to go over this right now. So we talked about line and we talked about the radical and increasing and decreasing. So this is the topic of today. Anybody else? Any other question for me?
Because I just joined, does WebSmart have all the information about what assignments I'm doing?
WebSmart or Canvas, yeah.
Or yeah. So I'll know what assignments to do, right?
Say again, please.
Does it tell me which assignments I'm doing?
It doesn't tell you to wake you up. It tells you homework 1, homework 2, homework 3. If you've
Okay.
done homework 1, you go to homework 2.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, so any other question for me? So let's talk about the first function that you already know about the line. So it's a linear function. The format is y equal to mx plus b. This m was a slope. So this is only a review, and b is y-intercept. Correct? Example, y equal to 3x minus 5. If I ask you guys to graph this one, before you graphing it, you're going to name this 3 tells you that the slope is 3 and y-intercept is -5. Also, at the same time, you should know that the graph is only a line, correct? So how do we graph this? Because it's a line, we are able to graph the line by 2 points. There are 2 ways to graph it. First, we can start with y-intercept is -5. And the slope is 3/1. So you go 1, 2, 3, and 1 here. So that's the slope. I mean, that's the line. You graph it. Another way is to make 2 points. It's an old-fashioned to graph a function. We plot point. We give value to x and we find the value for y. For example, x equal to 0. Value of y will be 3 times 0 minus 5. The answer is -5. So point 0, -5 will be on the line. For example, this is 0, -5. We need to have another point. I put like 1 for x, and the y will be 3 times 1 minus 5, which is -2. For example, 1 and -2. And because this is a line, and we know how line look like, with 2 points, we should be able to plot the function. So this is line. So the characteristic of this function, we really care about the slope, and we really want to know the y-intercept. There's the x-intercept here. Can you guys tell me what is the value of x-intercept?
-5.
What is that?
Sorry, -5.
X-intercept.
Oh.
Is it 2?
No. I mean, the way I graphed it, I mean, this is not a graphing paper. I just made the x and y axis and I graphed the line. So we cannot say this is 2.
Sorry.
Is it 0.6?
Does it-
5/3.
Yeah. So something that for you to have it in your note sheet, for x-intercept value of y equal to 0. So all the x-intercept, they are y equal to 0, and y-intercept x equal to 0. So like this example, that we don't have a graphing paper, that we don't know exactly what is that point, we do it algebraically. Algebraically means we plug 0 for y, and then we solve for x. So 0 equal to 3x minus 5 plus 5 plus 5, then x will be 5/3. So 5/3, comma 0. The question x-intercept and y-intercept will be with you for the next 10 chapters. So they give you different function. They ask you what is x and y-intercept. The way you're gonna give, folks, again, you need to make sure what format the homework asks you for what x and y-intercept. If you just give me 5/3 as an x-intercept, this is not correct. So x-intercept is a point, so you need to give me x and y. And for y-intercept, x equal to 0, so y equal gonna be 0, 0,5. Good. So back to this line, can I say this line is increasing or decreasing? Is that,
It would
to
be
make it A is increasing, B is decreasing. Which one do you pick?
increasing.
Increasing?
Increasing, yeah. The function is increasing. By looking at the graph, we usually read the graph from, all the time we read the graph from left to right. So from left to right, if you read it, the graph going up, so it's increasing. Algebraically, we will look at the slope. Slope is greater than 0, therefore it's increasing. All right. So we covered few important topics here. So the increasing, decreasing, x-intercept, y-intercept. So now let's have another example. Another example. Let's make it. Let's say we have a function like this. All right, I'm going to call it, so this is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is f of x. What is the slope of this graph? So we have a function, the vertical line, it passes, so we don't, I'm not gonna ask you guys, is this a function or not? My question is, I can bring 100 different type of questions for this graph. I'm not gonna ask you guys what is a domain. I don't care about the range. I ask you guys, do we have a slope for this graph? Good, you guys not saying anything, that means we don't have a slope. We have a slope only for the line. The slope is the rate of change. If there is a line, for example, like this, the slope which is change of y over change of x, is fixed for all, I mean, the rate is fixed for this graph. For example, this graph slope is -3. Any 2 points that you pick, the slope is -3, correct? But we cannot say for this graph, there is one slope. That doesn't work. You can see here, for example, it's going up, then it doesn't go anywhere, then it's going down. So what do we say? We're going to say, we're not going to use the word slope. We're going to say rate of change. What is the rate of change of this function? Because it's a curve, we need to break it down in different interval. So we analyze the graph in different pieces, different interval notation. For example, I can say from -6 to say 4 here, -4, this function is increasing, correct? So what is the average rate of change or a slope? I can talk about this much of the graph. Then from -4 to, for example, 1, the function is decreasing. This much is decreasing. Then from 1 to 8, the function is increasing. So there is a slope here. I'm going to call it this M for now, but this average rate of change. Here M is positive, here M is negative, and here M is positive again. So there is no one M for a curve. Only for a line, we have one slope. And the formula for the line, M equal to delta X over delta Y, or what we learned before, change of Y, Y2 minus Y1, X2 minus X1. And for any 2 points for the line, you will get the same number, fixed number. But for the curve, for sure, there is no slope for entire this graph. We divided. And so here we say M greater than 0 between -6 and -4. But if you say from -6 and -5, still M is positive, but has a different value. But here we only care about the sign, positive or negative. There are like millions of different slopes between 1 to 8, but all of them are positive. So we're going to stay with that for now. So average rate of change, it will be f of b minus f of a over b minus a. For example, from -6 going to be b, -4 going to be a, and the value of y. This is exactly the same as this one, y2 minus y1. Stop me if I'm going too fast. I will review this again, but for now, from the previous slide, from the line, I jump to this curve. Can you guys tell me how many x-intercept do we have? And how many y-intercept do we have?
One for both of them.
Very good. So x-intercept will be this one. The value of y is 0, -6, and y-intercept will be 0, +2. All right. Back to the line. So line was y equal to mx plus b. This is one type of equation of line. They call it slope y-intercept form. We have another form, which is y minus y1 equal to mx minus x1. Again, this is a line, but there's a different format for it. They call it the slope. That's a slope point form. And the last one is the standard form. So it's just good to know that there are three different, I don't want to call it formula, but three different formats for the lines. And the last one is standard form, which is ax plus by plus c equal to 0. All right, so let me give you guys one question. Quiz for you guys. 5x plus 5y equal to 4. I give you guys an equation. You look at the equation and you need to know if this is linear, quadratic, cubic, or other type of equation. But I tell you guys this is a line, all right? But they're asking us, make this one to y equal to b plus mx. So they ask us to make it to this form. So it's algebra. This is given, they're looking for this format. It looks like in your book, instead of mx plus b, they put b plus mx, which is same. For the homework is very important. If the way they ask you guys, if you remove it, computer not gonna understand. Has to be in that form. All right. So who wants to share? So let me solve this. So we, with the level of difficulty, you need to know this is algebra. I'm not looking for x and y intercept, slope, nothing. Just make it to this form. So when you look at the form y is by itself, I mean this should be by itself. So y, I'm going to say 5y equal to 4 minus 5x. Then I divide it by 5. I divide by 5. Then y will be 4 minus 5x over 5. Is this a final answer? No, correct. I know you solve for y, but they're asking us b should be by itself plus mx. So this should be 4 over 5 plus minus x, or 4 over 5 minus x, 1x. Let's have another one. X plus y over 7 equal to 3.
Is it y equals 21 minus x?
Y equal to 21 minus x, like this. Anybody else?
I agree with that solution.
Same solution?
Yeah.
I got the same answer.
I got
All
the
right.
same answer too.
So I told you guys that this is a line, correct? But some question they ask you, is this a line? So you have to say yes or no. If it's yes, you have to go to the right, what format they're asking us. So I told you guys this is a line. So in order to make it to mx plus y equal to mx plus b, sorry, b plus mx. I think your book has b plus mx. Every publisher likes to be unique, so they move them around. So that means the y should be by itself. We have to get rid of the 7. I multiply 7 both sides. We're going to get x plus y equal to 21. Get rid of the x by subtracting. And then that's it. Y will be what Ben has got. This is correct. So now I'm going to give you guys another type of question. My next question will be g of w equal to -1 minus 12 w over 3 line. Yes or no? If it's yes, make it to y equal to b plus mx. If it's no, good for you, you don't do anything. So this is going to be for j of s equal to 3s to power -1 plus 7 c of r equal to 2 pi r f of x equal to m squared x plus n squared. So if it's no, you go to, this is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So next 10 chapters, so this is chapter 1 about line, chapter 2 quadratic, logarithm, all type of function, you will see a question like this. For example, in chapter 2, I give you guys equation, I ask you guys, is this a quadratic? If it's yes, make it to a standard form. So it's very important to know the characteristic of each function. For number 1, is this yes or no? Is this a line or no? Yes.
Yes.
So I know that g of w, it will scare you, but g of w, that means there is a factory, they call it g, and w goes inside, it pops us g of w. So do not freak out of the like a j of s. Those are like a notation of the function. So this is nothing. But what is important, the inside of the parenthesis w, that means this g of g, which is, or y, depends to this w. So the function, we should have w here. So the parenthesis inside, this inside parenthesis is super important. You only care about that. So what is, so you said yes, everybody said yes or no? Yes, yeah. The linear function mx plus b, so the f of x equal to b plus mx. Linear, exponent here is 1, and there is any norm constant multiplied by that. Cool. All right, so you said yes because it's degree 1. Now we have to do some algebra. We have to make it to mx b plus mx. It would be good to make this one as y. So we have y equal to negative 1 minus 12w over 3. What should I do to this?
I would start by distributing the negative to the 1 and the 12.
Very good. And then?
And then I would rewrite it as negative 1/3 plus 12w over 3, or yeah, or 4w.
So this technique that you guys do, that you breaking down the denominator, is a great technique. It's like a very advanced. So that's it. So this is like going to be mx plus b. What about number 2, j of s? Is that a line?
It's a, no, it's a rational function.
All right, did you Google that?
No, because the negative 1, when you have a negative exponent, you can rewrite it as a fraction, right?
Very good, yeah. This is going to be on chapter 11, that this, for now you will say no, because the inside of j is s, so this s is super important to see what is the exponents. So we have negative 1, so s to the power negative 1. In order to be linear, you should not have, only you should have 1 as exponent. So this is no. Now what type of animal is that? We don't care. We just say no to get points. What about number 3? Yes or no?
Yes.
Matthew, is that you? You keep answering yes?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's yes, what is the slope?
2 pi.
What's the y-intercept?
Y-intercept is 0.
What's the x-intercept?
X-intercept. Let me work on that one.
Very good, very good. So we don't freak out of the, I mean, this, when you look at this function, is kind of scary. You love mx plus b now, but now I give you guys another, like a formula for finding the perimeter of the circle. I'm asking you guys, is that linear or not? Your job is to first look at the inside of the parenthesis. This is depend to the c, it depends to the r. This r has the exponent 1, which is good, and the coefficient is a number multiplied by this. So this is yes. If you want to make it to b plus mx, it will be 0 plus 2 pi r. This is going to be the formula. The slope is 2 pi, y-intercept is 0, and x-intercept should be 0 as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to don't do it on your head. It would be good to just solve it. I asked you what is x-intercept. The formula was value of y equal to 0. So 0 equal to 2 pi r. You have to solve for r divided by 2 pi. Then 0 over 2 pi is 0. So the 0, 0. What about number 4?
It's linear as well.
Beanas, what do you think?
I think it's linear too.
Ela?
I'm not sure, but I think it's cubic.
Good answer. Lucas, what do you think?
I think it's linear.
Okay. So looks scary. Looks like some I don't know what formula is that, but probably is sequential formula. But our job is to say yes or no to linear. In exam quiz, you have a page of note about the linear. Again, don't rely on Google. You don't have time to Google those things. So one line of one line to tell you the linear or not. This f has x here. You look at the x. You don't care about n squared and m. F of x doesn't depend to n and m. Only depends to x because it has x inside the parenthesis. Exponent of x is 1, and that's great. So it makes it linear. So this is linear. And what is the slope? M squared. Y-intercept is 0, comma n squared. Any question? So you know as much as I know, or you might know more than me right now. Whatever I know about the line, you know it too. So I'm not hiding anything you're saying. But unfortunately, the way in exam and quiz, we don't give you guys very simple question. We would like to quiz, we would like to challenge you. So you will deal with little challenging looking formula. But the foundation we are saying, the terminology, we know it the same. So now let's talk about two lines. Oops. That's x, this is y. This is L1, this is L2. How many lines do you guys see? 2 lines, right? Are these 2 lines parallel?
No.
Very good. So you are with me. It's not parallel. Parallel lines mean these 2 lines are parallel. That means they don't cross each other. Usually, if L1 and L2 are parallel, then slope of L1 equal to a slope of L2. We don't care about the y-intercept, but they have the same slope. So L1 and L2 in this example, they are not parallel. How many intersections do they have? 1, right? There's no way we can get 2. So there's 1 intersection here. I'm going to call it A. Is that point A going to be 3, 1, negative 3, positive 1, negative 3, negative 1, 3, negative 1. I'm going to call it P. This P's intersection is that A going to be 3, 1, B going to be negative 3, 1, C going to be this, D going to be that. Which one do you pick for the intersection of L1 and L2?
C.
C. D.
C.
C. So the intersection, so the intersection is in quadrant 3, correct? This is quadrant 1, that's quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this guy is 4. In this quadrant, x is negative and y is negative. So this is the best choice. Good. Now let's talk about the slope. Can I say, is this true or false? M of L1 less than M of L2. True or false?
False.
That's what you were saying.
I think it's false too.
So do you see the notation here? It looks advanced, looks scary, but if you know it, is simple, correct? I'm just saying M means a slope of L1. L1 is here. This line has one slope all the way up, but we cannot find exact because we don't have any point on it. But this is slope and that is slope, and the slope of L2. So we said the slope is the rate of change or the speed or rate. If you, for example, put the ball over here and ball over there, which ball will goes to the ocean first? Which one comes faster? Or hit this guy? L1, correct? I mean, L1 has a higher slope. We read the graph from left to right. This is gonna go faster to the sun. Okay, so that's why we say this is higher slope. If I make another line like this, now this one has more slope than L1, correct? So now make another one here, has more. What if I make a vertical line? If I make a line like this, what is the slope of this one? I'm going to say LK. What is the slope of LK?
Undefined.
Very good. A slope of LK. So if we follow the ball, if I put the ball over here on the line LK, what's going to happen to the ball? When the ball going to fall, it depends on the weight of the ball. It will fall. We cannot have a fixed number. We cannot say, oh, this has like a slope of 10,000 or 5,000. This doesn't have any slope. It doesn't exist. It's infinity. If you want to solve it algebraically, if m equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, if you pick any 2 points on this line, correct, like let's say here is 2, here is 8, x is 5. If you plug it in that formula, we're going to have 8 minus 2 over 5 minus 5. We're going to have 6 over 0. We get 0 on the denominator. That means this guy will explode. It doesn't exist. The vertical line is very important. What about if you make a horizontal line? If you make a line like this, what is the slope of this line? If you put the ball over here, what's the speed of the ball to move?
The slope would be 0.
Nothing, correct? Slope is 0. So vertical line has a slope 0. Horizontal line has a slope 0. Vertical has no slope. Last thing about line. We have two lines here, L1 and L2. Cool. So now your mind should say, I can ask you guys so many different questions. Can I say B of L1 less than B of L2? Is that true or false? B is a y-intercept. Lucas, what do you think?
True.
So B, I mean, I told you that it's a y-intercept. So this is a y-intercept, for example. We don't know it, but this y-intercept here, this much is bigger than this much, right? So it's going to be true. Slope of L1, I'm going to say, is 4. And the slope of L2 is negative 1/4. Are these two lines parallel? No, correct. If you're parallel, please, you have to drink more coffee. This is not parallel. Are these two lines, they intersect each other? Yes, we see intersection point P. L1 is perpendicular to L2. That means they created 90 degrees here. If M1 slope of, if you multiply the slope, you get -1, or the slope of one is negative reciprocal of a slope of the other one. In this case, they are perpendicular. So in this example, they are perpendicular because -1/4 is reciprocal of 4. Good. So this perpendicular, that means it has to be 90 degrees. So if I give you guys two lines, in order to know they are parallel or perpendicular, only a slope will tell us. For example, M1 equal to M2, M1 equal to -1/M2. So I need to go. I have another appointment at 10:30. Benas, what was your question again?
I asked how come the radical function wasn't increasing?
Radical function, like y equal to radical x. Radical, we're going to learn about square root or radical function in chapter 9 or 10. But for now, you should know the graph of radical is something like this. Good. Is this a line? No, correct?
No.
So only for the line, we can say is increasing or decreasing. We can say, oh, the line L1 is, because going up, because m is greater than 0, is increasing. Line L2 decreasing, m less than 0. So we cannot have one answer for this one. We have to break it down. We need to break it down to, for example, 0 to 4. So here we're going to say between 0, the average rate of change from 0 to 4, for example, for the same f of x equal to radical x. So average rate of change, you're going to use the formula f of b minus f of a over b minus a. If this is greater than 0, that means it's increasing. So I'm going to plug it there. We have f of 4 minus f of 0 over 4 minus 0. F of 4 is radical 4 minus radical 0 over 4. So we don't care how small is that, but if it's positive, that means it's increasing. Good. So between 0 and 4 increasing. If you're interested to know from 4 to like 64, are you following me, Bennett? Yeah. So I'm breaking it down. What do you think from 4 to 64 going to be? Is that positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. But for example, going to be f of 64 minus f of, let's say, 16. F of 16 over 64 minus 16 is radical 64 minus radical 16. 64 minus 16 is 50, 48. Correct? Gives you 8 minus 4 over 48. So 4 over 48 is 2 over 24 is 1 over 12. Good? Is that positive or negative?
It's positive.
Is it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing between that interval. But we can negotiate it because from 0 to 4, the slope was half, like a 0.5. Then from 16 to 64 become 1 over 12, very small, but it's positive. We cannot say it's decreasing. We cannot say it's constant. It's constant if you get 0. If you got 0, that means it's a line. All right? So so now if you tell me from 0 to 500, is that increasing or decreasing? It will be increasing. Then if you're going to tell me from 500 to 10,000, you're going to get constant. You're going to get 0. So this 1 over 12 is going to be like a 1 over 1,000. It's going to be 1 over big number, which is going to go to 0. So if you don't break it down in different interval, you cannot say it's increasing and decreasing. Correct? That was a homework question?
Yeah, it had like a bunch of graphs, and it was like which ones are increasing, which ones are, yeah.
They give you the graph, or they give you, did they give you this graph, or they give you some other radical graph?
It was the radical graph with the 2 different pieces, the one that goes up in the 4th quadrant and the one that goes up in the other quadrant, and they were both going up, so I thought
this is like this?
Yeah.
This is a rational graph, the rational function.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is different animal. All right, guys.